Doug, the numbers and stats all suggest the sheriff here in Otsego County needs a new jail. There's a plan to build one at this old powerhouse. And what about the billions of dollars in add-ons? Well, Congressman Camp defended many of them. This is his. He says many are tax cuts, not pork. Look at that. It looks like January or February, certainly not April. But since it is April, our saving grace is that the roads are warm. Put it out with lots of water, but we want to show you with a rake right here that underneath, more hot embers, lots of coal. I want to show you something. This right here is the frame to a sliding glass door that these 60, 65 mile an hour winds that Kevin Usselman was talking about ripped off of this house. Even more eerie when you take a walk down this sidewalk is looking at the lot next door where there was once a house as well. Last August, it burned down. Good morning, Ben Kwan and Corey Adkins live in Sault Ste. Marie to preview the city's outhouse races this Saturday. We're going for record time, and Corey's about to get pushed over. Anyway, we'll have that coming up. And this is just a little thing, but we happen to notice right here that they've misspelled the word college in their email address. All right, we found the great Canadian secret. They tell us we can get a man on the moon, but we Americans cannot figure out milk in a bag. Veterans passing by have been saluting the former commander-in-chief. And now I want to give you a live look at the pedestrian bridge people have been crossing all morning. Tens of thousands of people have walked from the DeVos Place all the way out to the Presidential Museum to get their chance to make their connection to our 38th president a personal one. 2, 1, there he goes! Oh, it's great! Sometime around 8 this night, fire broke out in Ken DeZu's Many Blessings Dairy Farm.
My boss called and said to get up here so we could...
From the looks of it, Ken DeZu didn't have a blessing to count as fire crews fought a losing battle against Ken's 2-year-old milking parlor. But listen for the sounds of cows, the 400 or so that made it out and away from this blazing heat.
There's a lot of cows.
Hey, Dad, this is birds.
And you'll see what you'd normally see at a fire with one real difference.
There's a lot more helpers than there are lookers. Yeah. Yep, a lot more helpers than there are watchers here tonight, certainly.
Rich Smolligan, just one of more than 100 who brought more than 24 trailers to do this. Corral the nearly 400 newly homeless and give them instant homes. As if the Department of Homeland Security had an emergency management plan for a fire at a dairy farm. We can say with certainty they don't. We did find the Department of Hometown Security.
These are all the neighbors, and this is what happens, this fraternity of guys, this is what happens.
A critical job for a farmer already facing a crippling loss.
This is this guy's largest investment other than his property. These cattle are the thing that's worth more to him than anything. This is his biggest asset.
Indeed a blessing. Make that a couple hundred on this night of just one fire. Well, Doug, President Ford lived in that house from the age of 8 to the age of 17, perhaps some of his most formative years. That home is a place many have gathered in the last few days since the president died, many who share very special and personal memories of the president and his family. Perched almost at the top of this historic Grand Rapids neighborhood sits a house that looks like all the rest.
It's an honor for us,
but has a gem of a story the home's owners never expected to be responsible for.
It just was the place that left a mark on his life.
Tim Englund and his partner Rob Kent purchased President Gerald Ford's boyhood home in 1991. Then abandoned and in disrepair, they've restored it. And a decade ago, they helped restore a president's memories of a distant past the Fords first stopped by in 1994.
They're coming up the step right away. She's saying, "You'll never know what this moment or what this day means to my Jerry."
In the days since the former president's death, the country has learned countless real and human stories about the 38th Commander-in-Chief.
He was just like, just like the neighbor next door.
649 Union Street is one place those stories have been told.
In the late 1960s, I was a private duty nurse for Mrs. Ford when she had a few surgeries. And she was such a gracious woman.
Phyllis Bratt worked for the president's mother. She came on this day to see where the president became a man.
In our family history has memories because Marilyn's father lived here for a number of years.
Howard and Marilyn Knapp came with photos of Marilyn's parents on these very steps. Marilyn's dad lived here not long after the Fords moved away.
it's kind of nice to have that connection, and that's why we came out.
Be it great or small, it's a connection many feel to the president on his final homecoming. A link to the man the way he wanted to be remembered. Jerry Ford from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
The realization that there was much more of a connection with us and the Ford family, and especially him, that it wasn't just President Ford passing away, we'd lost a friend.
And indeed, that is the sentiment here in West Michigan and across the state as the entire country takes pause to remember our president, our former President Gerald R. Ford, who will be finally laid to rest just behind me on the banks of the Grand River here in Grand Rapids tomorrow.